Hello, my dear BL friends. I'm making this I'm making this review audio about the BL, the Heart Killers. Now, as you may or may not know, and you know now, First and Khaotung are my most favorite ship, and I think both are. First is deserving the name because I believe he's really the first in acting in GMM TV. I've seen him in so many nuances in facial expressions. It's really extraordinary. I assume he's one who could play any role, and his ability to display so many layered emotions in very small details in the facial expression is always feast to see. And Khaotung is his perfect partner. We all love see Khaotung cry. I think Khaotung is the best crier there is. So, but on the other hand, killers, murdering, prison goings. Warning, it's going to have spoilers. If you haven't seen it, please stop listening. I knew what was happening, and I had started to see it, and fast forwarded it, but it was just too much to bear. And someone, sorry, I forgot, I'm bad with names, encouraged me to watch it, and I binged watched it in the last 3 days or so. And first, thanks for encouraging me. I think it was worth watching it. As to a review, I wanted to speak this because I'm kind of lost at what to say about this. You know, this was a super interesting series, that is clear, and I'm not much interested in Joong and Dunk. Not that I have something against them; it's just not so interesting to me personally, for no particular reason. So that part of the story was, I think it was more also the focus on First and Khaotung, but maybe that's my personal impression that there happened more between them. I think I had the impression, but it may be biased, I don't know. So one thing that was really breathtaking was the romantic scenes, like the dancing scene in this bowling hall or other things. Though I have this feeling, and I know I'm not on the same page with many others watching BLs. I want BLs where BL is a part, but maybe not the main part. I don't know. I've seen stories where BL is the main part, and I still like them. But generally, I like it to take a little bit the backseat because continually romance, kissing, make out, and whatever feels a little bit redundant. I won't say boring, but borderline boring to me. I am absolutely honest here. I know this because there is this series with Peach something, which is just fucking around. I'm sorry. It's like with nothing. There you see to the absolute extreme, which is maybe I'm getting old. And I've just watched the first episode of Only Friends, the first one, not the new one. And there was so much fucking around and kissing and trying to romance and dating, and I don't know. It was just like if I had 10 pies of overly sugary cake. I mean, it's strange when a gay man says I've seen too many gay scenes in a BL series, but that's how I felt about the first episode of Only Friends. The first season, the original, and it was not entirely the same, but a little bit similar in some parts of Hard Killers. I'm not so fond of overdoing this, because you see, I want relationships, and relationships is more like kissing and, romance should be more than that. I don't like this when it's all about fucking around or dating around or like intense kissing and yeah, that's, I mean, I don't like it when it's all gone either. But I don't know, it's a little bit like a strange perspective, like a gay relationship developing would be all about shagging around. It's or super over the top sweet or over the top sexualized things. I don't know. It's boring me. I'm sorry. It's boring me. I'm excuse me. I'm 54, soon 55. So you may say, "Oh, that's still young." Okay, given. But I'm soul life is like, I don't know, 26,000 years probably. I don't know why. It's not so interesting. But back to Hard Killers. There are two killers, brothers. Until the last, I didn't really understand. Are they really brothers? I mean, they were taken by this killer, May so-and-so, which is another strange point. Like, I feel we have two moms, two dads, one uncle and one aunt, and a grandpa, and we see the same over and over and over and over. And it's a little bit starting to itch me at the wrong spot. Not because these actors are bad, but I've seen this woman in so many roles now, and other people, those mothers, fathers, you know that. And I see, I don't remember then from which series, but it starts to be, I know, understandable. GMMTV makes mostly, I think, BL series, so they have no reason to hire constantly new 40-plus characters to play parents. So they keep their roster, of course, and they deserve financial and job stability. But it starts to feel strange at some point. I started just probably a year ago, but I already noticed that I see the same parents and the same uncles over and over. And it starts to feel weird. I'm sorry. It was not a perfect series, to say this. It was not like I felt, oh wow, this was a series of my life. Despite being a big fan of First and Khaotung, really. I can't even really say why. And it was not because of the dark parts. There was 2 episodes, I think somewhere in the middle, which were really hard to bear. Those when the tipping point, when names, I forgot names immediately after I watched the series. When Joong and Khaotung, whatever the names were, Bison and Fadel, right, are about to find out that their lovers are actually spies for the police. There were 2 episodes where this is the flipping over. I think 7 to 8 or something like that. This was the low point emotionally for me. But then the last 2, it was 12 episodes, and I felt like the end was stretched a little bit somehow. I don't know. There is this, it's clear, okay, we're facing time in the prison. And we're telling the police everything about this May so-and-so, mother so-and-so, who is leading a killer ring. We're telling this. And these last 2 episodes, 11 and 12, they take too long just for me. And then there is, what is it? Is it the last or the no, the last is that long time in. That is episode 11. And they are all the time making out romance, and it was just, I'm sorry, I was bored of the overdose of romance in episode 11. It was just, yes, every single scene was fine, nice, and they're sitting at the beach, they're drinking coffee, I don't know, whatever they do, but call me cold, call me cynic, call me, I don't know, burned out because whatever is in my life, I don't know. But it was too much. There was an entire 50, 60-minute episode about, oh, let's feel happy, happy, because in the next episode you're 5 years in prison. And then they're in prison and it stretches and stretches and stretches. I would have just really preferred if that, oh, they're 5 years in prison and then cut all 5 years over. I felt no bonus in seeing them. I know they went as teachers for a time into the prison, so there was something going on, and then Bison was threatened by some guy in the prison, and it was, oh, why do I need to see this? I don't know. It was just too much. It felt like an 8-episode series stretched to 12. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but it was because it was a nice series, but there is so much fat to the meat, if I may phrase it like that. Like, I would have reduced the series to more essential scenes and not overextended making out or dating scenes, which I know are fine, but there is like the feeling like I don't really know those 4 characters as much as 12 episodes should make me know them. That is what I felt about them, character-wise. I mean, I know something about them, but for 12 episodes, I felt, and just 4 main characters who were there all the time, or most of the time, it was focusing about them. I did not really feel I knew them well enough for that. They had some backstory, but it was briefly mentioned. It was leading to crying scenes, or to crying, not crime, crying scenes, or whatever scenes. But let's take Fadel, for instance. He's mostly stoic, angry, and distrusting. And yeah, there were some explanations said, but I didn't really get the character. And the same was played by Dunk, whose name was, heaven help me, I don't know. He was the friend of first. What was his name? I forgot. I'm sorry. My brain is like a sieve right now, all the time. I don't know. But he helps him, and then it's, oh, I'm so into him because I love dangerous guys. Like, he's a murderer. Isn't that a little bit too dangerous? So that was so believable. I mean, love is irrational. I know this, but yes, you don't give into any irrational impulse, not even in love. But then that's maybe because I'm single for the last 20 years. God knows I'm too reasonable. I'm too reasonable for that. I'm too logical. I'm too careful for that. No, I'm not careful at all. I'm not careful. I'm not a careful person by any means necessary. That's true. But it was strange. There was something, and I can't point my finger on it, and it irks me that I don't know what. I have a hard time to, let's see, how was the plot? I'd say 8 of 10. The plot generally was good. How was the acting? I would give First and Khaotung a 9 of 10. But I have to be honest, Dunk and Fadel in acting was at best a 7 of 10. I was not so convinced of the variety of acting, let me say it that way, or the motivation was not so strong. Even 7 of 10 is generous, and I'm not trying to diss them. Then what is there? Music was great. Was maybe a 9 out of 10. I really loved the music. And then sets, that's the best parts, almost. Because, you see, I noticed they had so much interesting fashion. It was not because it was trendy modern 2026 or 2024 fashion when it was made. It was strangely out of time. Like this diner, this American-style, 1950s American-style diner, which was this burger which Fadel and Bison were running. This looked like out of time, like America 1950s. And then the shirts which they wore, especially First and Khaotung, like 70s, 60s style shirts and clothing and shoes, and And then the strange smartphones or smartphones, which were, I don't know, way old. I think it's from 2024, but I really had to look up what kind of smartphones did we have in 2024. It was not like this. It was like 1990s or something. And all this gives this a timeless atmosphere. Like it's not set in a given time, which you can say it's like this. It had elements of past times, like some vintage or retro film or series. And I really liked that vintage retro style, especially in clothing and the atmosphere. The bowling center was something like out of time. I don't know how it's in America, but there are no bowling centers anymore here in Germany. I'm sure there are, but it's like something that my parents did, like they're going to bowling. Maybe that's different in Thailand or in America or in Australia or in England. I don't know. But here in Germany, it's something like my parents did when they were young, going bowling. So it was like a retro series, and I liked that. I liked the style of that. Overall, I really have a hard time to say. I'm somewhat torn between 7 and 8 of 10. That's the best I can say. No, it was not 9 and 10 out of 10, despite some really great moments and elements, but I felt it was dragged. That is the most clear feeling of where I say what I disliked. It dragged out too long. And there was too little details about the character. I felt I didn't know the character after 12 episodes as much as I should have known them. And those two ending episodes were like chewing gum, dragging out. It's like with Bilbo Baggins, like, what was the quote? Butter stretched over too much bread. Like an entire day where they have their last day, an entire episode. And then an entire long episode in prison, which is just like, nah. Wasn't interested really in that. And this it was basically an 8 episode series stretched out to 12, a little bit like The Hobbit, I'm sorry to say. So it's like 7 sounds so negative if I say it, but I don't know, let's say 7.5 of 10. I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it was not something I will watch again. So thanks for listening. That's my spoken review this time of The Heart Killers. Thank you for listening.